All right, family, it looks like we going live. This is my first time going live, so bear with me if anything goes left or anything. But there was a challenge made to me. It was just like, hey, ED, do you edit your videos and do all this thing? And I was like, well, no, not really. But he was like, you never went live. And I was like, well, I accept your challenge. So before we get started, of course, I want you to pick up the book, The Magnetic Project Manager. Again, The Magnetic Project Manager should be coming to a bookstore near you. Today's quote of the day is, you can either sit in the pain or you can focus on the progress. But special note, you can't have both. Let's get into today's episode. Today's episode is entitled How to Set and Manage Realistic Project Expectations. I got to say that again because let's be honest. I mean, when you get ready to set real expectations, things can be a little foggy. But again, how to set and manage realistic project expectation. Let me put the Magnetic Project Manager book down so we can get to work. Let me ask you a quick question. You know, I always got to ask you a question. These glasses are getting blurry. Let me ask you a quick question. Picture your project as the grand theater performance with expectations set as the stage around you unfolds. Now, imagine this script, craft with these certain expectations flawlessly. Again, flawlessly. Let's jump into my 7-point framework. If you're new to the channel, I go by the name of ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, listen, that just simply means Ed. What we're going to cover is my 7-point framework. What that means is I got 7 points, and then after that, I may even throw in a bonus because I'm really feeling good today. This is my first time going live, and so why not just enjoy it and have fun? So let's get started. Point number 1, alignment with objectives. What does that mean, ED? Alignment with objectives, ensuring that project objectives project objectives meets the expectations and are aligned with the overall project objective. By doing this, this is keeping everyone focused on the same end goal. Family, I don't know about you, but what I've learned over my time of leading projects is that the vision gets the vision sometimes gets lost in the progress. We forgot what we came for. Okay, now I'm sounding like Jay, but it's true though. We forgot what we came for. We came here because of the fact that we wanted to ensure that we deliver a unique product and or service or result, because that is what, from a high level, what a project is. And if that's the case, then family, we always have to make sure that we're aligned with the objective. Let's move on to point number 2. Point number two, resource availability. If I could count on my fingers and toes how many times that we didn't realistically approach or assess the availability of resources, and then always making sure that understanding, keeping the main thing, meaning that we need to understand that we need to prioritize our resources. So if we don't need them right now, let's be comfortable in letting them go away, but ensuring that we have an understanding with them and we document, because that's huge, family, because sometimes we'll say, okay, if you need to go work on that other priority project, that's fine. Will you be able to come back, and we're negotiating, but we don't document it. We need to document those things. So family, when it comes to resource availability, and I'm not just talking about human resource, I'm also talking about technology. I'm also talking about services and results. Basically, what I'm talking about, whatever it takes to meet the actual project requirements, we need to make sure that we are definitely aligned with that. So resource availability. Point number 3, timelines and milestones. Woo! Okay, listen, family. Now, when we're leveraging a framework, well, I should say a methodology of a waterfall project, we have to make sure that when we establish a timeline, and if we have to rebaseline, that we take the proper channels to rebaseline appropriately. That we're just not just changing it, as my grandma would say, all willy-nilly per se, but making sure that we define a clear timeline with accompanying milestones, and also to accompany that, providing just a roadmap of what the project progress is going to be like or is, as well as the expectations from management. Let's move on to point number three. Point number three, now I say four, excuse me. Point number four, the reason why I kind of went back and forth with this because the flexibility of scope is normally what I normally focus on if I'm leading like a Scrum type project versus a methodology of leveraging more of a predictive, which is a waterfall type project. But I've noticed, especially in these days and times, that we have to find some type of happy medium when it comes to this scope. And if we have to have some flexibility with the scope, that doesn't mean that we can't change the scope. But again, going back to my previous point, we have to ensure that we are documenting it appropriately because if we don't document it appropriately, then no one's going to understand the progression, whether the scope either increased or decreased. Like we're not going to have any type of being able to measure the two of like, okay, this is what the original scope was, and then we had to make this change. So, family, there's nothing wrong with change, as we know change is inevitable, but and that's a conjunction junction was okay, you guys may not even know what that is. It was a cartoon about the and buts. Oh, okay, I'll digress. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make, family, is being able to have the ability to have some type of flexibility in the scope. But because I know I got some premium and some experts and that's probably has been doing project management just as long as I have or even longer, and they're like, Ed, why would I have, if I'm leading a project in a predictive, why would I have any flexibility? So I just want to be clear. All I'm saying here, family, is that if you decide that your scope is not meeting with the vision and what the team aligned with, because as you're navigating through the project, you pick up on that. Let's just follow the appropriate path. I mean, unless you want to do what Einstein talked about, where he said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting what? Different results. Let's move on. Point number five, stakeholder engagement. I always wonder, like, so recently I went out to eat, and when we were out to eat, I noticed the difference in service. What do you mean? So what I mean by that is that the servers that were personable, they got more of a personable tip. I know you're gonna pick up what I'm dropping in a minute. Watch how I unpack that. What I mean by that, family, is that you have to engage your stakeholders. You cannot go in a silo. You can't just send emails. You can't just send messages through Asana, through Teams, through Slack, whatever the form of community. You have to have communication with them because sometimes the context of what you're delivering can be, watch this, it can be misconstrued, it can be misunderstood. And if that's the case, then we have to ensure that not only are we putting a contextual, are we writing this email out or putting this information in Teams or documenting that we're also verbally communicating that as well. Point number six, one of my favorites. I know you guys are like, man, he always got all these favorites, but hey, it is one of my favorites. And it's transparency and reporting. I don't know if you've been on projects. I've seen where project managers were nervous to flip their project to a yellow status or nervous to flip their project to a red status because they understood what came with that. And what came with that was instead of understanding the problem, instead of working and collaborating together to ensure we can get this project back to green, the scrutiny came, the finger pointing came, the distrust came. And when all of these start playing in the part of your team really starts stop being transparent. And then when they stop being transparent and then you find out, then it sets you back as the leader of that project because of the fact that if your team felt comfortable, if they felt like they could trust you, then they would literally just be very transparent. See, family, there's nothing wrong with being transparent. Once you're transparent, now let's find a solution. This is what we're here for. Let's figure out how do we solve these particular problems that are in our way. All right, let's move on to point number seven. Point number seven, contingency planning. You said plan B? Oh, I'm sorry, I just heard something. No, family, honestly, when you look at contingency planning, I am looking at it from more of a a methodology of a predictive methodology. I mean, you could also look at it from an adaptive framework as well, but more predictive. And when I say predictive, I am more or less talking about a waterfall type methodology. When I say adaptive, I am referencing Scrum or Agile in a sense. But having a contingency plan, developing a robust contingency plans for potential setbacks. This really allows you to reassure your stakeholders of the project. And when storms come, guess what? You got an umbrella. When storms come, you got shelter. Okay, I'm feeling myself too much. I'll let it go. But family, honestly, on a serious, always be thinking of contingency plans. Always be thinking of plan Bs. If this happens, what am I going to do? How am I going to respond? How am I going to respond? How am I going to react? So think of that, family. I did tell you I'm feeling good today. And because I'm feeling good, I have a bonus for you. You ready? The bonus of today is quality assurance. You talking about QA? Yes, I am talking about QA. So let's talk about QA. QA is basically implementing quality control measures to ensure project deliverables not only meet but surpass the expectations, in which will make our stakeholders excited, will make our stakeholders love what we did. So, family, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. This was live, uncut, raw, no editing. Just me being who I am. I really love this thing that we call project management. I hope that you can see that. I really love this thing we call agile. I hope you can see that coming through the videos here, because this is nothing but pure passion. This is nothing made up, and this is nothing that I'm like, oh well, I wonder if people are going to feel it. You guys are going to love it. Eventually, if you haven't subscribed already, I'm asking you to subscribe. If you like this video, I hope that you hit the like button, because as they told me, it helps the algorithm. What is the algorithm? I don't know what the algorithm is, but they keep telling me that if you hit the like or subscribe button, it helps the channel. So if you help the channel, it's been your boy ED. Until next time, I'm out.